right, the Pistons trade for Isaiah Joe. I don't know much about Isaiah Joe. I don't watch the Thunder, but a lot. But from what I seen, he can shoot the ball. Shot it at over 40% clip last season. Yeah, he can shoot the ball. Seemed like he could score. He could score a little bit. You lost Isaiah. You lost Isaiah Stewart. You got Isaiah Joe. So, also I read somewhere on X that they could be getting rid of waiving Duncan Robinson because his salary is only at $2 million for how his contract is structured. Don't know how true it is. But last season, Isaiah Joe, he shot 89% from the free throw line. He shot 42.3% from three, averaged 11 points a game. Not much of a rebounder, not much of a assister. Last year was a career high. In points, 11.1. He played 21.2 minutes a game, shot career high 42.3% from the three. You seem like you got a shooter. Somebody probably with, a little bit more athletic ability, and Duncan Robinson is probably going to be gone. So, I think this was a good pickup from, everything that I've seen. So basically you just, you replace Duncan Robinson. That's pretty much what you did. But I'm going to talk about Jaylen Duren as well, too. Now they're trying to get a deal done. I mean, I'm just keeping y'all updated. Most likely, if I didn't have this channel, I would just be in a wait and see approach. But as far as Isaiah Joe, you got a sharpshooter. Duncan shot it at 41% last year. For the Thunder, it was about them clearing $11 million in cap space. You got to remember, OKC, I'm pretty sure it's the same owner. OKC was in a situation where they didn't want to pay James Harden a few $1 million, so they let him go, and they broke up that team over some money. So in that small market in OKC, they don't look to spend for a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? So, but from what I'm looking at, you can shoot the ball really well. The catch and shoot is just immaculate. I like Duncan Robinson, though. Honestly, I really did, and hopefully they keep him. But the way Isaiah Joe shooting, now, if this is a guy that you're going to put next to Cade Cunningham, they had Duncan Robinson. You hope this ain't the splash move that they going to make. But, he's a catch and shoot guy. So shooting is something they had to improve. As of right now, Duncan is on the roster, so you got better shooting. But then, we sitting here like, okay, what's going to happen with Karis LeVert? Duncan Robinson could be. It's a lot of guys that they can actually get rid of. Sasser deserved to go spread his wings somewhere else. Because that was one of the bigger issues last year, was that we didn't get that production from Karis LeVert that we got from Malik Beasley. You know what I mean? So that became a whole issue that we didn't have. And, with Isaiah Joe, he can shoot it. He basically another sharpshooter. Okay, we also need to get a better shooter at the power forward position. Somebody that can play that power forward position and that can stretch it out. Also you might need a stretch five, even if you bring Duren back or not. Then the Karis LeVert thing, we've seen enough of that. Will he turn it around next year? Only the Lord knows. Only the Lord knows. So, only the Lord knows. But, they got a lot of work to do, even if they keep Jaylen Duren, what do you do at power forward? So is your only real move was like, okay, let's just say to get rid of Duncan, we bring Isaiah Joe in, Okori, Dennis Jenkins, Karis LeVert, then you put Tobias, Duren, Asar, Cade, and Norman Powell out there. Is that really a significant upgrade? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I don't, I don't know. I just can't see them coming back with Tobias at the power forward again. It is what it is. As far as Jaylen Duren, and what's going on with him, first he wanted to seek a sign and trade because he didn't like the offer that the Pistons was giving him, so he wanted a sign and trade. I understand that. You felt disrespected. Now the Pistons want to, rush to get a deal done. He probably want to leave anyway. All the ill will he getting from the city. He probably see that online. He probably, with Luka been in his ear reportedly, he probably trying to get to LA. The thing about it is, how do you get him to LA? They have nothing to offer without Austin Reeves. How do you get him to LA? Because they need to create the cap space, right? I would be assumed. So how do you get him to LA? They would have to recruit a third team, and to recruit a third team to absorb that cap space, just thinking off the top of the brain, you would then have to send your first round draft picks to that third team. Or it would have to benefit a third team to take the players off the Lakers, to take those salaries, to send Duren to Detroit. And what would you get Duren back? You would give Duren back what? You would get draft capital back for Jaylen Duren. That's the only way I could see it working. But, most people were happy when they heard the news that he was gone. Like, literally, he's the most disliked Detroit athlete right now, even over Terrion Arnold in his situation. So, does it surprise me any? No. He played really, really bad. 2 years in a row in the playoffs. The first year versus the Knicks, he didn't show up. The second time, he didn't show up. 7 foot, everybody said, he's 6'10", man. And the man 6 foot, man, was 2 inches from a 7 foot. He's a fucking 7 footer. Ain't too many centers around here. It don't matter. Patrick Ewing was what? 6'10", 6'11". Lonzo was 6'9". People kill me with that, bro. Like, oh my God, he's not 7 foot. So what do that got to do with it? You 6'10", you up there, You don't have to be a 7 footer to be a center. Ben Wallace was around that motherfucker 6'6". But so now, they're rushing to keep him. I mean, I'll be glad when this play out. But if I had to be honest with you, my confidence level from the stuff that I'm hearing they doing, my confidence level is on this. I don't have any confidence that they're going to do the right thing. They're going to have their definition of improving the roster. And it's not going to be what we think it is or what it should be. It's going to be Norman Powell, Cade, Tobias, Duren, and Asar Thompson. That's going to be an upgrade as Norman Powell. That's going to be a major upgrade. It won't be a LaMelo. It won't be a Ball. Not a Ball, but a Brown. It won't be a Ja. It won't be a Book. It won't be none of that. They're going to basically, you gave up Norman Powell to get Isaiah Stewart. You didn't give up Norman and Isaiah Joe. You didn't give up Norman Powell. You didn't give up Stu for nothing for Powell and Trey Murphy, or Powell and MPJ, or Powell and what's the other brother's name? Laurie Marketing. Yeah, you gave him up for that. For Norman Powell. But Powell can hoop though. Powell a baller, but it's just like when you in Detroit, they get your hopes up about something major happen. It never happens. Not from a free agent aspect. That's why the Rasheed Wallace thing was so huge, man. It's because we didn't, we like shit. That shit don't never happen. We always bring some washed up bum ass nigga to Detroit. That's what usually happens. But hey, we'll see what happens. Check out Detroit Pistons Talk playlist. Thumbs up the video. Share the video. Subscribe to the channel. Find me on X, Facebook, Kick, Twitch, Instagram, the whole 9.